So hello everybody and welcome to this morning's Cuppa Chat, which is focusing on heart grandparents. We're really pleased to be joined by John and Marie and Linda and Peter, who are going to talk a little bit today about their adult children and their grandchildren as well, who have been born with congenital heart disease. We are really grateful to have them, particularly grateful to have Linda and Peter today. And I'm sure as they tell their story, you'll hear a little bit more as to why. So I think we're just going to do it as a really informal chat, just like we do the groups. So these groups run on the second Tuesday of every month, and it's a support group for heart grandparents to come along, talk about things that they're overwhelmed with, struggling with, anything that they really would like some support with. And so the purpose of today is to show you a little bit about what we kind of talk about in our peer support groups. I'm going to hand you over to Marie and John, who are going to talk about their daughter Danielle, her partner Dan, and their grandson Luca.
Well, Luca is now 14 months old, so we're a little bit along the journey and coming out the other end in the sense that you can now start to have that breathing space, because he's had his operation, all the conditions that he had, the VSD, the hole in the heart, and the heart murmur, the blood flow are all now normal. Well, they're back to the stats that they should be, and they're back to the position they should be. But 14 months ago,
December 24,
we were in this. We were in the position of receiving the news that Luca had TGA, and we got no idea what TGA was. All we heard was a heart problem. He's got this problem with his heart, and straight away you go into internal panic mode for yourself, and you're trying to be supportive for your children. And added to that, Danielle and Dan live in Malta. So Malta were unable to support this operation, but amazingly paid for Dan and Danielle to come to the UK, where there is an agreement that Great Ormond Street would do the operation. So through Tiny Tickers, the sonographer had been trained to identify anomalies. And at the 20-week scan, very similar to a lot of other people, he was diagnosed with TGA. So for us, it was learning new words, a strange environment. Normally it's sort of, well, I can give you a cuddle and life will be sorted and we'll manage whatever the problem is, to a situation where you had no idea what you were doing. You were well out of your depth, weren't you? And but you want to be there for them. So they came across to us to live with us for a month. And then they went down to Great Ormond Street until he was born. And then stayed with him, obviously, while he was down there. And he flew back to Malta at 3 weeks.
3 weeks old.
Yeah. And then he's been supported in Malta with a paediatric cardiologist who has links with Great Ormond Street. And as I say, now he's just starting to walk. He's trying to talk. He's had his 12 months scan, and everything, as I say, is back to how it should be. But he still needs his checks every year. And it's funny because although this is, he's okay now, it still means whenever he gets anything, you immediately go back but he's got a heart condition. He hasn't, but you wonder what the impact is going to be on his heart. And so far, touch wood, he's been fine. He's had COVID, he's had cold, he's had all sorts of things, and now he's at nursery. He's picking up even more. But he's fine. He's coping with it, and I think he copes with it better than we all do.
I think the problem was at the 20-week scan in Malta, and it was picked up. We flew out within 48 hours, following which a consultant came over, confirmed everything, and within 7 days, they were booked in to go to London, and we were still in Malta. So we ended up meeting them at our house just before Christmas because they were coming to us. But then they set up shop here. They worked from home, so they didn't have to worry about working. They could work here. Our dining room became an office. And and the coffee machine was working overtime and things like that. But still, at the end of the day, you know what's coming. You've got to prepare for what is going to happen. We knew he's going to have the operation, and then you sit there, and then on the day of the operation, it's possibly the longest day of your life. You need to find something to do, something that's normal, something to take your mind off it as much as you can, because it is a lot, and all you're doing is waiting for the phone call, as you will be, and it's fantastic because the call comes, but that's just the start. And talking to people, we have friends who were always there for us as well, because on your own you can't just. You could deal with it, but it eats you up inside because they are children. And all the time you've brought the children up and you can sort anything out from them. Any problems, you can deal with it. This is totally out of your hands. You're in the hands of specialists. And then you have to understand that these surgeons do it day in and day out. It's a normal day for them. It's not a normal day for the parents or the grandparents. You have to put faith in the surgeons that are carrying out the operation on your grandchild, and it's a lot. But we've got there.
Yeah,
we're here now, but it's still in the background.
Yeah, but I think the opportunity to talk to people, and I know you don't have to share everything, but if sometimes you just want to tell people what your situation is, and it's somebody who understands. Because as much as your friends and church groups or whatever support mechanism you have in place, they don't know what to say. They don't know what to say for the best, because they can't offer anything more than you're being offered by the consultants and the medical staff. You just want somebody to listen, and I think that's the beauty of these groups, because you can just sit and listen to that person. That person can offload. They know that everybody's been there. Everybody understands that level of pain for you. Without having to say anything. You don't feel like somebody's just, oh, well, mine was different, or it's exactly the same. It doesn't matter. And when I know we've listened to some stories before, and they have got a lot more conditions than our babies have, but it's still the same. It's still that raw pain that you can't do anything. So it's as John said, it's the practical things that you can do with your children. That is setting up the office, running around with the coffees, making and you just feel like you're doing something. It's keeping busy. So
and the other thing we found with being on the grandparent group, we're talking because everybody knew that we were the people with the grandchild in Malta. To the UK to go. And it was weird that at least one of the grandparents, their daughter, ended up on the other group and was in contact with our daughter as well. It's like it goes full circle.
Feels like a family.
It's like you're like, and Danielle's even sent because she worked at Great Ormond Street, she got vouchers from this coffee shop very near to Great Ormond Street, and she got them on her phone, and she can't use them. She's in Malta, so she was sending the coffee vouchers. The parents of the baby, so they can get free coffee. It's like a small family group.
Again, it's not so it's wider in that you're also looking after somebody else in a very small way. Like Danielle said, that coffee for them meant it was an excuse to go out, to go to the have a coffee, and they come back.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And another one is that as a result of it all, she's talked to somebody who visits her grandparents on Gozo every year, which is Gozo's the island next to Malta.
Yeah.
Catching up as well. So, you know, it's still a
Yeah.
family group. You're part of a big team, I think.
Yeah. No, that's very well said. And I would say, having run these groups for a year, because I think you came to the very first one, didn't you, Marie and John? And I remember your story. We've got this shock news of the diagnosis, and earlier Maria said panic, and I remember the feeling and the look on your faces. What does it mean? It's bewildering, isn't it? What's the journey ahead going to look like? And I think there wasn't anybody on that call at that time that was further on to kind of reassure you and give you that comfort. But I think you guys are those figures in the group. You're, like you say, you're 14 months through, and you remember every step, the waiting for surgery, the shock of the diagnosis. You've had moments of joy and moments of pain, haven't you? And you remember all of those different pieces and are able to share that wisdom. And like you say, those special things, people might think, oh, it's only making coffees, but we know it's always the small things, isn't it? Those practical things, a meal, I've left a lasagna on your doorstep, I'll walk your dog for you. Let me kind of contact work for you if you can't find the words. There's so many practical things that can be offered, and they mean so much to your adult children.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, no, and thank you for mentioning the group as well, because I think, yeah, it can be scary. And we always say it's a brave thing, isn't it, to come to the group for the first time to share something so personal, so private about how you're feeling, how you're thinking, what you're going through. And it's a trauma, isn't it? It's traumatic news to receive. So it's a really brave thing to do. But we have lovely families, don't we? Lovely grandparents that come to the group, and everybody listens to everybody's story. And it's really lovely to see the connections, and like you say, the connections that go on outside the community, but people going, yep, that was me, or my grandson's got the same diagnosis as your grandson. And there's lots of interconnections, aren't there? Which help, like you say, contain you and get you through some really horrible times.
Well, I know last night we were saying, oh gosh, I wonder how Peter and Linda are doing, what the outcome is, and so you follow these babies. They may not be yours, but you follow their progress.
The other journeys.
Definitely, absolutely. Yeah. You're very much all held in mind, aren't you? From even though the groups are once a month, always held in mind. Thank you so much. That was such a lovely. I was thinking for you when we started this call. I said, "Oh, just a summary," but it's so hard to summarize because you have gone through so much. So to find the key bits to share with everybody, it's hard. But there's some real key things from what you were saying, Marie and John, and it's okay to feel these feelings as well. You don't have to be superhuman. You don't have to be robotic. You feel it because your children are going through it, and we're hardwired to protect them and care for them, and we don't want them to go through that emotional distress. So you're feeling it on a level, and we talk about the ripple effect. It ripples out, doesn't it? And that's why it's absolutely fine for you guys to have a space to talk, to be with like-minded families, and say, I'm finding this all very, very hard. Just hear other people's comfort as well. But also what you said about the practical support, and you can do so much to rally round, can't you? In a way that your adult children on a level that friends maybe don't, and other people don't. So, like you said, that attunement that you had to Dan and Danielle. Look, we've set you up the office. We've got the coffee machine. Like we've got the car running. We can full tank of petrol will take you where you need to be, and that's so helpful and so containing. And as well as I know you check in a lot, don't you? Even though Dan and Danielle are in Malta, you check in on phone, you text, you do video calls. So you're always keeping that communication going. And I think that's really helped, hasn't it?
Definitely.
Thank you so much. That was, there wasn't any questions I needed to ask you. You gave a lovely summary there. So thank you so much. And you alluded to Linda and Peter, and we'll come to Linda and Peter next. And at the start of the call, I was saying we're really impressed that they've come, and we'll let you share your story about Harley and James and Lauren whenever you're ready.
Well, when we got told, obviously, James and Lauren were expecting, we were actually over the moon. Obviously, couldn't be more happier. Everything was going fine. And then at the 20-week scan, they found out, obviously, they got a congenital heart disease. And what they were told, I'm taking my glasses off because I need to. So effectively, they were told it was a double outlet right ventricle, or DORV, with ventricular spectrum defect, a hole between the ventricles, pulmonary stenosis, and right leaning aortic arch. So effectively, from 20 weeks, which they had the scan in Luton and Dunstable, which is their local hospital, they then referred them to Gosh. Went down to Gosh, and obviously they went through everything with them. And I must admit, one thing I will say about James and Lauren, they had to take all of this information in from what the hospital have told them, and they came back and sat us all down as a family and actually explained everything. Because when you're talking about aortic and pulmonary, and we're thinking, oh my goodness, what is all this? But they were so good. And I must admit, I think probably because they're both teachers, they literally want to go in and look at everything, research everything, ask all the questions. And then after taking all of that in, they then sit down and then relay it to the grandparents, in terms that we can understand. At that time,
it's sort of including diagrams as well, which
very helpful.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now I understand exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
And they were first class.
Yes, they have.
And bearing in mind, this was their first child, so everything is new.
Yeah.
This on top. So we're very, very proud of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And following on from that, we obviously, because we live in Jersey, we flew over obviously to be with them, because obviously at that time that was a huge impact on their lives for their first child. But all we can say is, as far as obviously between Luton and Gosh, they've been excellent. They went down to Gosh, they were blue lighted actually, down to Gosh in
23rd of January.
January, yes. He originally had a stent fitted, and they were in there for about 6 weeks in total. But the stats were just dropping on and off throughout the time. But one thing we will say about the care in there, I mean, it's just 24/7. I mean, you just can't fault them. And obviously from there he ended up then having another stent fitted, which then was doing too good of a job. And it was funny because between the first stent being fitted, James and Lauren had been told about the tiny tickers that they do for parents, which they'd obviously joined, and they have a fantastic support group, and they really relied on this support, and they even WhatsApp each other now. They've met up. It's opened a big door for them as well. And they told us about the grandparents one and would be like to go. And we said, oh yes, definitely. And honestly, it was the best thing for us to be able to speak openly to, whether you've got the same condition or similar conditions, but to speak to people that totally understand where we come from. And it gave us great support and comfort. And Rachel, as I say, as our lead, as we would say, has been so good in sort of pulling this all together. Obviously, you've got your team and everything you work with, because I think as far as the grandparents are concerned, we've all become a team now. And for you to bring this to and take your time to literally listen to all of us, give support, has been invaluable.
Agreed.
And speaking with the likes of Marie and John and what they've been through, it really, really has been excellent and gives us a great bit of confidence.
That's lovely to say. And we were saying at the beginning, we're really impressed you've come today. Do you feel able to share a little bit about what Harley's going through at the minute?
Yes, on Wednesday they went down to Great Ormond Street, and that was to have bloods taken, check his weight, his height, and do the usual checks. Everything was going fine. They said they wanted them to come in about 11 o'clock. That was on Thursday. And then obviously his operation, then they told was going to be in the afternoon. And then yesterday morning, they got a phone call to say, sorry, it's been cancelled. There's an emergency coming. or reschedule for in a week's time. Obviously, James and Lauren were quite concerned, so they went into obviously the hospital and spoke to the Dr. Craig, who is their consultant that's obviously been with them all the way through this journey. And his stats had dropped really, really low. So he said to leave it with him because he wanted to have a look at his schedules. And he came back and said, yes, we'll definitely bring him in, but I want him to go on to ICU. So last night he was on ICU because his stats are really low. So they were obviously pumping him full of oxygen. And then they got told then that he was having his operation this morning. So whilst we're
yeah. So whilst we're talking, he's having the operation, and then coming out the other side, and we'll be fine.
Yeah, they've told us the operation is going to last about 5 to 6 hours. Then there's a possibility he might be sedated for about 2 to 3 days. There's a lot more going on because they've actually said that depending on what happens, he might need to have a pacemaker. So, I mean, one thing we will say, they've been given all the facts, and James and Jen and Lauren have taken it all in and then obviously relayed it to us. So until we obviously later this afternoon, that's when we'll find out what's going to happen. They have said there's a possibility they might leave his chest open for a few days, depending on obviously what's being done. So at the moment, we're just sort of now just waiting to hear. And as far, we've not spoken with James and Lauren yet. We just said if they want to talk, but I'm sure at the moment they're dealing with it because they had to hand over the son this morning. And then just obviously that it is in their hands. So I think they're trying to deal with that at the moment. So we've said we're here if they want to talk, but we understand, you know, if they time together. But another good thing I find as well is they have a support group that they can talk to people that have sort of helped them with stress and anxiety and all this, which I'm sure, you know, has helped them. So at the moment, I'm not too sure where they are or what support they've actually got at the moment. So,
But one thing, I speaking as grandparents, the first time we went to Great Ormond Street and you walked through the door, it was a feeling of confidence. Yes, you're in a brilliant place, and all the people you speak to there, the nurses, the doctors, the consultants, they give you, this comes over that they know exactly what they're doing. As they said to James and Lauren, what Harley's got isn't common, but we know exactly what to do. And it's not done in a bragging way, but it's done in a very calm way.
Ensuring way.
So much faith in the people down there. That really put us at ease going down and seeing the place.
One thing we'll say as well is you don't realise how resilient babies are. I mean, for everything that he got thrown at him, you know, he had cannulas in his arms, his legs, you know, he was on a breathing machine. He then had to go on a permanent feed drip through a pump because he had acid reflux. I mean, you know, you just think, you know, as an adult, I mean, I don't even know whether we'd react. You know, so, absolutely. You know, he's gone through so much, you know, and I think, as I say, James and Lauren, we just hold our hands up to them. You know, they're just incredible. You know?
Just when we went down when he was we went down
3 weeks old.
Just under 3 weeks old. Mother's Day we went down, didn't we, to see him? And you walk into that ward, that bleeping of the oxygen monitor, that's all you hear. It's surreal. And they don't, the staff there, oh no, it's all okay, like, because the alarm goes off because it goes below a certain percentage.
That's right, remember it well.
No, what's happening?
They were frustrating, explaining what they were doing. And I think that's why these groups are so helpful, because it's that you walk in, these babies, as you say, they're so tough little warriors. They're being given drugs that, you know, an adult would struggle to take.
Yeah, exactly.
And I know it's the food's saying, oh my gosh, it's
Fentanyl.
all these kind of drugs that you were thinking, how are they going to cope? They battle on.
Yeah.
They're amazing.
They're really, really tough.
Yeah.
That thing about leaving the chest open, that happened with Luca, but they closed it after 24 hours.
Right.
All
Okay.
right.
Okay.
They leave it open in case they need to do anything. And I mean, well, we've seen the pictures.
But I think even while it's open, it's not open.
No.
Yeah.
It's the fact that they're telling you, you understand.
Yeah.
Lauren and James will be, like you say, they're fully informed, Danielle and Dan. You felt like you were talking to the consultants when you were talking to them. Because
absolutely. Yes, that's a pound for every time we've said that when we've come away from James and Lauren.
The staff on the ward sometimes says to Dan and Danielle, look, we'll feed him. You go out and have a meal.
Yes.
Nice Italian around the corner, or there's other restaurants. Don't worry about Luca. He's in safe hands here. We will look after him. We have your phone number if we need to. Relax. They did that on a few occasions. He just went out, and the staff looked after him.
I don't know that they relaxed.
I don't know whether, I don't know if they relaxed.
They got a break.
That's what I said to them. I mean, Danielle, you just can't believe what they've dealt with. You know, you can't put yourself in that position. I'm sure you'd cope the same, but you just think they learned everything, what they needed to know, shared it. It's the forearm. They've got all the information. They can explain it to you in a way that you need to know. The amount of information you need to know to understand it. And the fact that they, got up every morning, made an effort, and you think, oh my gosh, you cope with all going on, but they did, and you sit there looking as though it's the most normal thing, and inside, there's a brass band playing, thinking, oh my, doing amazing. You two are doing amazing.
You really are. Yeah, because you'll be so preoccupied, and at moments you'll be distracted, and then your mind will wander back to Harley, and we haven't had the call yet. We haven't heard from Lauren and James, but I think you both said we wanted to be busy and we wanted to be distracted, and I think that's really important, isn't it? To just do something to keep your minds as busy as you can. But I think everybody in the group whose little ones have been through surgery say it is the longest wait, and I remember you saying it, Marie and John. It's the longest few hours of your lifetime, because minute by minute ticks round, and you are left wondering and thinking, and sometimes there's that urgency to want to do, like, what can I do, and what can I, but like you said, you've texted Lauren and James, you've said we're here if you want to talk, you're going to travel when it's okay to travel. And sometimes we've said in the group, haven't we, sometimes people don't know what they need in those moments, so they might make a plan and then it all changes. But it's that flexibility, isn't it? We're here if you need us. If you don't, no pressure, it's okay. And I think both of you guys, you do offer that lovely flexibility, and that resilience of Dan and Danielle and Lauren and James, it does come from you guys. They've got that lovely buffer in that you're there, you're offering unconditional love for them, unconditional care, and you're so attuned to them as well. So we've talked in the group, haven't we, about when they're struggling just because of how their faces are, or you're checking in because they've gone a bit quieter, and it's that attunement because of your lovely relationship that you've got with them that you can do that, and that is a really, really protective factor, and that enables them to go and do these incredible things with their children in terms of taking them to hospital and things.
Well, I must admit, we flew in yesterday, and we were meant to be here about tea time, but then the flight got delayed, and then delayed, and then delayed, and then we're thinking, oh my goodness. In the end, we were lucky. We did get out, only to find out that the flight after us had been cancelled because there was such bad thunderstorms that the flight didn't fly. So we were lucky to get the last flight out. So at the moment, we're sitting in James Lauren's kitchen.
So
we're on holiday.
Looking after Lexi, the dog, as well. So she keeps every now and again popping her nose in.
But that's such a huge help.
I think the other side of the coin is a thank you to our children by us joining this group, and we can explain what they've been through, what we've been through, to help other grandparents.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well,
I think
how what your children are doing. You know, we were so proud of what they were doing and how they were handling it. But actually thinking, speaking to someone else and seeing how their children handle it also gives you ideas to be able to support them. So it's constant sharing of little bits
little
of
techniques,
snippets of advice.
I was going to ask you actually if you could sort of, for other heart grandparents that might be watching this video back, what your kind of top tips or kind of key messages might be. And then it's really hard to think because, like we said, the journey's up and down and up and down. And sometimes you try things and you think, oh, I've maybe been a bit asking too many questions there, and there's no right and wrong, but just anything that you might think, actually, I've learned that from the group, or that was helpful that time I walked the dog for them. Is there anything that you could share with other heart grandparents that might be going through similar situations?
I would say, Rachel, please keep carrying on what you're doing. You know, I mean, effectively having something like this, because, you know, it doesn't matter how much you explain it, you get comfort in other people being in the same situations as you. To me, it's been invaluable, you know, just being able to speak openly and freely, and everybody that joins in understands what you're going through. I think these meetings have been really good for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And whilst we're over the moon with the people at Great Ormond Street, when you're speaking to somebody that's not a qualified nurse or doctor or consultant, like John and Marie, at least I assume John and Marie are not. To talk to other people. Just to talk to other people that have been through it gives us a lot of confidence as well. And I hope that people watch this back, they'll be able to learn from the four of us that things will be all right. They're in the best place.
And the support's there.
Absolutely.
Like I said very early on, that you can always fix things for your children, and on this occasion you can't.
That's right.
My background was 30 years in the police, so I could always control things. All of a sudden, it's just taken away from you, and you have to. I'll just have to deal with it and let the people. So for 30 years, I could control the situations and do everything, to having no control whatsoever. And not only that, it's your child.
You
just want to protect them.
You do.
Absolutely.
One thing that I think about now is when we went to see Dan's parents came over from Malta, and we all came together. So we all met in London
for the first
time. When we first went to see Luca, and we were all allowed in at that point. So I mean, he was still all packed up and everything, but what we found was it's standing back when you really want to be there doing something and helping them and seeing baby, and they ring us up and they'd say, you can't come now because the consultant's coming, or we're trying to feed him, we don't want you to come. It's accepting that's fine.
Yes, it is. Yes, absolutely.
Because it's you know, again, they feel they've got a responsibility to mum and dad, that they've always come, you know, we want you here, and then all of a sudden they've actually got to make those words that say, we don't want you to come because we can't deal with it, we're dealing with something else. And we would just, the four of us would go off and say, that's fine, you ring us when you're ready and we'll be there. So whatever we do, we'll come at the point you need us.
We're only down the road, 400 metres away at the hotel from the hospital.
But it was, they knew that even if we were down in London Centre, that's where we were coming next. So they'd ring up and they'd say, you can come at 5 o'clock. And we said, that's fine, we'll come at 5 o'clock. So it's just, again, that little bit of understanding and help that you can give.
Another thing I'd also say as well, Rachel, is anybody that obviously gets their their child gets diagnosed with this, one thing I could say and would say is the support is there. You're going to go through the scariest times you probably ever will, whether it's first, second, or whatever child it is. But one thing I can say from what we've experienced up to now, the support in Great Ormond Street and the connections that Great Ormond Street has with Luton and Dunstable as well, because obviously everybody has to be under one umbrella, is being second to none. So hopefully what we've said now, obviously we're on the grandparent side of things, is that anybody going through it is, if there's an opportunity to talk to somebody, take it. But they always say a problem shared is a problem half, and my goodness, these meetings have proved that.
100%.
Absolutely.
We've found it so helpful.
Yeah. And it just breaks down that isolation, doesn't it? And I think there's a bit of a theme for new people that join the group of feeling really quite isolated and thinking a bit conflicted, really, that I've told friends and family that my son or daughter are pregnant and expecting, and then now we've got this news and I'm trying to process it and support them and wonder about how I'm feeling about it. And it's just so bewildering, and there's no right and wrong way to feel. And I think it's okay to come, and for some people they prefer to listen, don't they, and just come and listen to other people talking, and that's absolutely fine. You can always do that. But it's knowing you're not alone. There are other people out there going through very, very similar circumstances. There are people that are just finding out about the diagnosis, and there are people that are like you guys, 14 months ahead, been through surgery and come out the other side. And I think everybody supports one another wherever they're at in their journey. Everybody gives each other that comfort. And yeah, you guys have really, really helped and listened to lots of people sharing their stories for the first time. And the group's open for as much or as little as you need. Some people come for a one-off. I think they feel a bit freer for sharing it and they don't need any more. Some people come regularly, and that's absolutely fine. You can use the group as you need to. It's there, and it's there for you guys. So yeah, I think
we look forward to it.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
We do.
That's wonderful. Yeah, no, that's really lovely.
And
Little
when you
pause.
settle in Malta, then still keep on to let us know how things are over there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, maybe next month.
Yeah, we'll hear some more as well. Yes.
Yeah, we'll hear.
Yeah, keep in touch.
We think-
Yeah, we will, definitely.
Yeah. And thank you so much to Marie and to John and to Linda and to Peter for coming on the call today and talking about the grandparents group, and about your grandsons and your adult children and what they're going through, and just sharing such lovely stories that can be so helpful to other heart grandparents that might be at different stages in the journey. So thank you so much for your time, particularly when Harley's in surgery. I think it's remarkable that you've found the resilience to come and share your story today. So thanks so much. And to Marie and John, who are packing to move to Malta to be with Luca, and Dan and Danielle. So I appreciate how busy and mad everything must be, but thank you so much for your time. And like we'd say, it's a warm and welcoming group. Anybody's welcome. And you will be supported by the Tiny Tickers peer support group. So thank you for listening.